The soft glow of dawn seeped through the window of the cozy apartment as Emily Carter set about brewing another cup of robust coffee. Her weary eyes revealed yet another night devoid of rest, caught between overdue reports and the persistent concern for her father, who lay in the adjacent room. "Dad, did you remember to take your medicine?" she inquired, setting down a tray with a modest breakfast on the bedside table. The slender, pallid figure inclined his head, offering a faint smile. "There's no need for you to fret so, my dear. You already do too much," Emily said as she adjusted his pillows, checked his temperature, and ensured he was comfortable before getting ready for another day of work. The mirror revealed a 28-year-old woman who appeared to bear an immense burden. Her attire, while tidy, bore the marks of frequent wear. As she glanced at her bank account on her phone, Emily let out a weary sigh. Her salary as an executive assistant scarcely met the demands of basic expenses and her father's medications. With her mother having passed away when she was just 15, embracing responsibilities had become instinctive for her. On the street, Emily anxiously glanced at her watch. The subway was delayed once more, and the prices on ride-sharing apps had surged during rush hour. She found herself unable to justify the expense, yet being late for work was not an option. "Another month like this and I might have to consider a loan," she murmured to herself, mentally tallying her expenses as she paced anxiously on the bustling sidewalk. The brisk morning breeze stung her cheeks as a polished black Audi glided to a stop next to her. The tinted windows glided down effortlessly, unveiling a man who seemed to be around 35, clad in a flawless suit that likely exceeded her monthly earnings. "Are you also on your way to Montgomery Enterprises?" he inquired, observing the company badge on her bag. His voice resonated with depth and courtesy, laced with an accent that eluded Emily's identification. She paused, gripping the strap of her bag tightly. A lifetime of prudence and logic urged her to dismiss the invitation, yet there was something in his gaze, perhaps the unmistakable sincerity or the knowledge that he was a colleague, that prompted her to think twice. "Yes," she eventually replied, her uncertainty lingering. "I can offer you a lift. It seems rather pointless to travel separately to the same destination. Wouldn't you agree?" Emily glanced at her watch again, then at the ominous clouds, and finally at the man who wore a warm smile. Despite her reservations, she acquiesced. "Thank you, that would be very kind." What seemed like a simple choice, accepting a ride, would soon spiral into a chain of unforeseen events. The opulent interior of the car was infused with the rich scent of fine leather and a hint of sophisticated cologne. Emily sat rigidly, her tattered bag held firmly on her lap, sensing her incongruity in the immaculate surroundings. The man introduced himself as Ethan, his gaze flickering toward her through the rearview mirror from time to time. "You appear a bit on edge," he remarked, a trace of amusement lacing his tone. "I promise you, I'm completely harmless. Just another employee at Montgomery, like you." Emily offered a faint smile. "I appreciate the offer, but I typically don't take rides from people I don't know. Thank you, though. The cost of transportation today would have been a hassle." "Facing financial difficulties?" Ethan inquired, his demeanor relaxed yet engaged. She paused briefly before responding. "Everyone faces their challenges, don't they?" "Absolutely." He maneuvered through the traffic with a skillful grace. "I've seen you around, you know. Always the first to show up and the last to go. That level of commitment is hard to come by." Emily shifted in her seat, feeling uneasy. "It's just ordinary, simply fulfilling my responsibilities. And taking care of someone, I presume." When she appeared taken aback, he continued, "The medical prescriptions that slipped from your bag when you entered. Apologies for my observation." "My father," she confessed softly. "He's been unwell for some time now." The vehicle halted at a crimson signal, and Ethan shifted slightly to look at her. His expression was inscrutable, yet his eyes conveyed a sincere curiosity. "That must be quite difficult, balancing both work and caregiving duties." "You don't have the luxury of choice," Emily said, her voice calm yet weary. Do you simply take care of what has to be accomplished? The remainder of the journey unfolded, with Ethan posing gentle inquiries about her profession, her daily habits, and the obstacles she faced. There was a certain quality to his demeanor that eased the conversation, even though she had her doubts at first. He absorbed every word, interjecting with insightful remarks from time to time. As they neared the striking glass structure of Montgomery Enterprise, Emily observed the way her fellow employees regarded the car, their expressions a blend of intrigue and admiration. She abruptly became aware of her appearance as she stepped out of the vehicle. "I really appreciate the ride," she said hurriedly, grasping the door handle. "Emily," Ethan called as she emerged. "Sometimes the right opportunities come in unexpected ways. Don't be too quick to dismiss them." Before she could respond, he had already driven away, leaving her standing on the sidewalk, puzzled by his cryptic words. As she entered the building, Emily felt an undeniable sense that Ethan was hiding something deeper beneath the surface. She made her way to her desk in the executive assistant pool, striving to concentrate on the day that lay ahead. Yet her thoughts continually wandered back to the enigmatic figure in the Audi, his intense stare, and the manner in which he appeared to penetrate her meticulously built defenses. Unbeknownst to her, in the penthouse office, Ethan Montgomery was busy devising strategies to encounter the captivating young woman who had piqued his interest. The following morning, Emily showed up early as she often did, her thoughts lingering on the peculiar meeting from the day before. The office hummed with its usual morning vibrancy as she took her place at her desk, arranging the tasks for the day ahead. "Did you hear?" Sarah whispered from the next cubicle. "The CEO is making surprise visits to our department today." Everyone seemed tense. Emily hardly took note of the news, her attention consumed by the pressing reports in front of her. Everything shifted as she heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps nearing her desk. She halted, her gaze lifted. Ethan stood there, yet his demeanor was far from the relaxed ease of the day before. He donned a meticulously crafted suit, encircled by a cadre of executives who absorbed his every utterance. "And this is our executive assistant department," he was saying. Then their gazes locked. "Ah, Miss Carter. Good morning." Emily felt the color leave her face as the truth dawned on her. The man who had offered her a lift was more than just another worker. Ethan Montgomery held the esteemed position of CEO within the company. The enigmatic figure in the Audi turned out to be her superior's superior. "Good morning, Mr. Montgomery," she said, her voice surprisingly steady even as her mind raced with anxiety. "Your report on the Asian market projections was excellent," he remarked effortlessly, as though their earlier meeting had never taken place. "I would appreciate more of that type of analysis." Murmurs spread through the crowd. Emily sensed a multitude of gazes fixed on her, inquiries taking shape on the faces surrounding her. How was the CEO aware of her report? What was the reason for him focusing on her? "Thank you, sir," she responded with poise, struggling to keep her emotions in check. As the others continued on, Emily remained motionless at her desk, her thoughts swirling around the discussion from the day before. She had shared her financial struggles with the CEO, voiced her concerns about transportation costs to the owner of the company, and had completely lowered her defenses with the most influential figure in the building. "Oh my God, Emily." Once the group was out of earshot, Sarah whispered with excitement. "Since when does the CEO recognize your name and your contributions?" I'm not sure," she said, masking her confusion as she struggled to grasp the reality of the moment. As the day unfolded, Emily spotted Ethan in different corners of the building. Every time he upheld his professional demeanor, she could almost believe she detected a flicker of amusement in his eyes whenever their gazes intertwined. As the day drew to a close, Emily found herself navigating a whirlwind of embarrassment, anger, and confusion. Why had he kept his true identity from her? Was yesterday a sort of trial? And above all, what implications did it have for her career? As she gathered her things to depart, her computer chimed with the arrival of a new email. "Ms. Carter, your presence is requested in the executive conference room tomorrow at 9 a.m. sharp. Regards, Emily gazed at the screen, her heart racing. Emily entered the imposing glass structure, her heart racing. Little did she know that within those walls, choices had already been made. Choices that would transform her career and her life, irrevocably. The following days introduced subtle yet significant shifts to Emily's daily routine. She would come into the office to discover a perfectly brewed coffee waiting for her, just the way she preferred. Significant projects would inexplicably appear in her inbox, presenting chances to demonstrate her talents. And now and then, she would notice Ethan observing her from across the room, his gaze contemplative. The quarterly reports require examination, her direct supervisor declared one morning. Emily, Mr. Montgomery specifically requested you for this task. Her colleagues' expressions varied from envy to curiosity. Emily concentrated intently on her tasks, tuning out the murmurs surrounding her. Yet, she couldn't help but notice how Ethan always seemed to show up just when she required assistance with the project. You possess strong instincts, he remarked to her in the course of one such meeting. However, you're restraining yourself. What is the reason behind this? Emily nervously toyed with her pen. With all due respect, Mr. Montgomery, I'm simply attempting to fulfill my responsibilities. Ethan, he amended, at least in private meetings, and you're capable of much more than just proper work. Later that week, Emily turned down another invitation to the office happy hour. She couldn't rationalize spending money on drinks while her father's medical bills were accumulating. As she gathered her belongings, Ethan approached her desk. You never participate in the team events, he noted. I have responsibilities at home, she replied simply. His gaze softened. How is your father? The authentic worry in his tone surprised her. The new treatment comes with a hefty price tag, but we're optimistic about its potential benefits. Ethan nodded, his face a mask of contemplation. The following day, Emily found an unexpected email from HR. A performance bonus. She gazed at the screen, torn between emotions. Had she genuinely deserved it? Or was this yet another of Ethan's subtle influences? When she attempted to probe further, HR maintained it was merely standard protocol for those involved in special projects. During lunch breaks, she occasionally spotted Ethan at a nearby table in the company cafeteria, effortlessly initiating discussions about work, literature, or the latest news. Despite her early hesitations, Emily discovered she began to anticipate these exchanges. You're not what I anticipated, she confessed in the midst of that discussion. Oh, and what did you expect from the formidable CEO? Someone more, she gestured vaguely. Corporate. He chuckled, his laughter rich and sincere. Isn't life too brief for anything but authenticity? Moreover, I appreciate honesty. It's a rarity in my role. As time went on, Emily began to observe subtle transformations within herself as well. She held her head high, articulated her thoughts with assurance during discussions, and started to recognize her own capabilities as Ethan perceived them. Yet, with every thoughtful act and profound exchange, she found herself nurturing emotions she understood were inappropriate. As the evening drew to a close and she readied herself to depart, Ethan approached her desk for one last visit. Next weekend, there's a significant corporate gala, he remarked nonchalantly. Your presence would be precious. Emily's heart raced. Sir, I don't think. Ethan, he reminded her softly. It was not a request. The organization requires its top talent present. As she observed him retreating, Emily recognized she was treading on perilous ground. The distinction between professional admiration and personal intrigue was growing ever more indistinct, leaving her uncertain about how to navigate the situation. Emily found herself lost in thought as she gazed at her closet for hours the night before the gala, grappling with the anxiety of selecting the perfect outfit. No option appeared suitable for an occasion of such significance. Ultimately, she chose her sleek black cocktail dress, understated yet sophisticated, though it was evident it wasn't from a high-end designer. The gala unfolded at the Grand Plaza Hotel, where the marble lobby buzzed with the presence of the city's elite. Emily sensed her discomfort the instant she crossed the threshold, gripping her tiny purse as if it were her only source of security. "You came," Ethan's voice behind her startled her. He appeared striking in a perfectly tailored tuxedo, his presence demanding the attention of everyone around. "Did I really have a choice?" she inquired, trying to inject humor into the situation, even though her anxiety was palpable. "There's always a choice," he said with a smile, extending his arm. "Shall we?" As the night unfolded, Ethan remained by her side, seamlessly introducing her to influential figures in the business world and effortlessly weaving her into discussions surrounding company initiatives. Emily was taken aback to discover that she was managing these interactions with increasing assurance. "You brought up the Asian market expansion earlier," one board member remarked to her. "I would love to hear more about your analysis." As Emily shared her insights, she caught sight of Ethan observing her with clear pride. In a tranquil pause, they discovered solitude on the hotel's terrace. "You're truly exceptional," he murmured. "Are you aware of that?" Emily sensed a flush rise to her cheeks. "I'm simply fulfilling my responsibilities." "No," he replied, shaking his head. "You're remarkable. The way you look after your father, how you face every obstacle. I've never encountered anyone quite like you." The atmosphere around them was thick with unexpressed feelings. Emily's heart raced as Ethan stepped closer, his hand barely grazing hers. "Mr. Montgomery." "Ethan?" he said with a soft correction. "Please, Ethan," she murmured, retreating a step. This isn't merely a straightforward office romance. There's far too much at stake for both of us." "Shouldn't what?" His voice was soft, drawing her in. "Have a genuine conversation. Acknowledge this connection." Just as Emily was about to reply, another executive stepped in, vying for Ethan's attention. The moment fractured, yet an essential change had occurred between them. On Monday morning, Emily discovered a small package resting on her desk. Within lay a finely crafted silver bracelet accompanied by a note. "Thank you for making the evening memorable, E." She ought to have responded right away. It was not suitable. Instead, she tucked it away in her drawer, her fingers brushing against the delicate chain. Throughout the day, their gazes intertwined across rooms and hallways, each look heavy with unexpressed sentiments. Emily attempted to concentrate on her tasks, yet her thoughts continually wandered to the terrace, to the way Ethan had regarded her, to the potential of something deeper. As she stepped out of the office that evening, the weight of reality hit her hard. Her father had yet another medical appointment scheduled for tomorrow. Bills were piling up, and the thought of pursuing unattainable relationships with influential CEOs felt like a distant fantasy. Upon returning home, she discovered the bracelet had mysteriously found its way into her purse, yet she chose not to return it. Instead, she set it gently on her nightstand, where it captured the fading sunlight, glimmering with unspoken potential. "Emily, you need to go and have fun," her father urged, glancing at the formal invitation resting on their kitchen table. Ethan dispatched it through a courier, an invitation for her attendance at a prestigious corporate dinner, marking the celebration of the company's most significant merger thus far. "Dad, I can't just abandon you for the entire evening," she argued, even as her fingers continued to glide over the embossed lettering. "Mrs. Peterson from next door has already confirmed he will keep an eye on me." "I'm not as helpless as you think," he said, a playful glint in his eyes. "When was the last time you did something just for you?" The event took place at the Ritz, and Emily had splurged significantly on a stunning deep blue evening gown. As she entered the grand ballroom, Ethan's response made it all worthwhile. He paused mid-sentence, his eyes growing wide as he absorbed her beauty. "You look stunning," he murmured softly as she drew near. During the dinner, Emily discovered that she was positioned next to Ethan at the central table. Their dialogue unfolded effortlessly, meandering through topics from business tactics to beloved literature. She observed the way he appeared transformed in this setting, exuding a sense of ease and authenticity. "Dance with me," he invited as the music began to swell. Emily paused for a moment, yet his hand was already reaching out to her. On the dance floor, everything else seemed to dissolve into the background. Ethan embraced her gently, his hand radiating warmth against her back. "I'm glad you came," he whispered softly. "I nearly didn't," she confessed. "What led to your change of heart?" "My father, actually. He said I deserve a night out." Ethan's eyes softened. "He's right. You deserve so much more than you allow yourself." For a brief moment, Emily set aside the disparities in their social standings, the expectations of professionalism, and all the complexities that surrounded the situation. She surrendered to the rhythm, embraced his essence, and acknowledged the profound bond that linked them. Later, as they stood on the hotel's balcony, absorbing the glow of the city lights, Ethan turned to her. "Emily, But before he could complete his thought, his assistant rushed in, urgently demanding his focus for a critical call from overseas investors. "I'm sorry," he said, a note of sincere regret lacing his words. "We'll continue this conversation soon?" Emily nodded, her gaze following him as he walked away. She sensed that this evening would alter their relationship. Yet, she was uncertain about the extent of that change. "He's what?" Emily almost let her coffee cup slip from her grasp in the break room. Her colleague Jenny had just casually remarked that Ethan Montgomery was far from an ordinary executive. He established the company and served as its chief executive officer. "You had no idea?" Jenny's expression was one of astonishment. "He founded the company from the ground up a decade ago, transforming it into its current state. The tale is well known. It's almost a legend in the business world." Emily sensed the room begin to whirl. All those conversations, the shared rides, the dance at the dinner. She had been engaging with the true owner of the company without realizing it. The man worth billions had allowed her to express her financial struggles and had listened as if they were equals. Back at her desk, Emily's mind raced through every interaction they had shared. How many had observed them, aware of his identity while she stayed unaware? Had he been chuckling at her innocence all along? "Emily?" His well-known voice startled her. Ethan lingered near her desk, clutching what appeared to be project files. "Do you have a moment to discuss the quarterly projections?" "I'm quite busy, Mr. Montgomery," she replied with a chill in her voice, stressing his surname. "Maybe you should talk it over with your executive team?" He blinked, taken aback by her tone. "Is everything okay?" Emily's voice trembled with a sense of betrayal. "You made me think we were on the same level, that I could rely on you, and all along you were putting me to the test." Realization spread across his features. "Ah, you discovered, as if it were just a trivial point." Emily's hands quivered ever so slightly. "You allowed me to think you were merely another staff member. Was this entertaining for you?" "Emily, that's not. I confided in you intimate details. All while you were..." "What? Observing me? Evaluating me?" "If you'd allow me to clarify..." "I don't believe there's anything to clarify, Mr. Montgomery," she interrupted, rising to her feet. "If you'll excuse me, I need some air." She hurried to the elevator, disregarding his attempts to call her back. In the bathroom, she splashed cold water on her face, seeking to regain her composure. The reflection staring back at her was one of betrayal and humiliation. From that moment, Emily resolved to maintain her distance. No more intimate conversations, no more shared moments. She would remain professional, nothing beyond that. If Ethan Montgomery sought to toy with emotions, he would need to seek a different victim. Over the next fortnight, Emily mastered the skill of strategic evasion. She funneled all interactions with Ethan through his assistant, arrived early to sidestep any chance meetings in the morning, and scheduled her lunches at unconventional times to guarantee their paths remained separate. In unavoidable meetings, she upheld a strict formality that allowed no space for personal connection. Her replies were terse. Her reports remained purely professional. Whenever Ethan attempted to spark a conversation, she swiftly devised excuses to remove herself from the situation. "Emily, you seem quite unhappy," her father noted one evening as she nibbled at her meal. "And don't try to convince me otherwise. I understand my daughter." It's just work stress, Dad, she mumbled. But her father wasn't deceived. This wouldn't have anything to do with that young man you mentioned. The one from work? Emily's fork clanged against her plate. He deceived me. Did he? Her father inquired softly. Or did he simply choose not to share everything at once? It's essentially the same, isn't it? He extended his hand across the table to gently touch hers. At times, those in authority crave recognition for their true selves rather than their status. Emily leaned back, pondering his insights. She recalled the effortless way Ethan engaged in their discussions, how sincerely he appeared to value her thoughts and perspectives. The environment at work became more and more charged with tension. She sensed Ethan's gaze upon her in the meetings, felt the weight of his frustration at the barriers she had erected. Once, she found him lingering by her desk, gazing at the vacant space that once held her during their lunchtime chats. Ms. Carter, his assistant, approached one afternoon. Mr. Montgomery wishes to arrange a meeting to go over your recent project proposals. Just email them to him, Emily responded without hesitation. He made a specific request for a face-to-face meeting. I'm afraid my schedule is full. Later that day, she discovered a handwritten note on her desk. I never meant to hurt you. Please let me explain, she said. Emily crumpled the note in her hand, yet she couldn't bring herself to discard it. Instead, she tucked it into her drawer right next to the silver bracelet she still couldn't return. That night, as she assisted her father with his medication, he spoke gently. Sometimes the biggest regrets come not from what we did, but from what we were too afraid to hear. Emily lay awake that night, contemplating whether her wounded pride was worth the expanding emptiness she felt within. As Emily sifted through her father's medical bills, she stumbled upon something peculiar. The hospital indicated that multiple costly treatments had been settled completely. Perplexed, she reached out to the billing department. Yes, Ms. Carter, the treatments were covered by the Montgomery Foundation, the clerk said with a bright smile. This initiative is designed specifically for the families of our employees. Did you not submit your application for it? Emily sensed the room whirl around her. No program of that kind existed. She must have been aware of it. This bore Ethan's unmistakable mark. She entered the office the following morning, resolve radiating from her gaze. As Ethan's assistant attempted to intervene, she forcefully brushed by, making her way into his office without prior notice. You had no right, she said, her voice trembling with emotion. Ethan glanced up from his desk, his face a mask of calm. Good morning, Emily. The expenses from the hospital, my father's care. That was you. He placed his pen down and rose gradually. Your father deserves the best care available. I don't need your charity. It's not charity, he said quietly. I care about you, Emily. Both of you. What is the reason? She insisted. Why would you do this? Because I couldn't stand by and watch you suffer when I had the ability to assist. He stepped closer, his gaze piercing. Every time you brought up another bill, another treatment that was just out of reach, it shattered my heart. Emily felt tears welling up. I can't accept this. Then think of it as a loan, if that helps. But please, his voice softened, don't let pride stand in the way of your father's health. She sank into a nearby chair, feeling overwhelmed. I can't wrap my head around you, Ethan. One moment you're concealing your true self and the next you pull a stunt like this. I concealed my role because, for once, I desired for someone to recognize me as simply Ethan. Not the CEO, not the affluent entrepreneur, just me. He knelt next to her chair. And you did. You showed me authenticity and sincerity. Are you aware of just how uncommon that is in my realm? Emily gazed at him, truly gazed, and perceived the genuine emotion reflected in his eyes. She recalled every dialogue they had, the way he absorbed her tales, engaged with her worries, and honored her viewpoints. I'm still angry with you, she whispered. A faint smile danced on his lips. I know, but at least you're talking to me again. For the first time in weeks, Emily sensed the barrier she'd constructed around her heart starting to give way. The quaint cafe just a couple of blocks from the office transformed into a space of neutrality. Emily lingered at a secluded table, observing the wisps of steam curling up from her untouched coffee while she awaited Ethan's arrival. They had settled on this location, a refuge from the corporate atmosphere and its scrutinizing gaze. He showed up exactly when expected, appearing transformed in his casual attire, more inviting, reminiscent of the man she had encountered earlier that day on the street. "I appreciate you taking the time to meet," he said, settling into the chair opposite her. "I'm here because I seek clarity," Emily responded. "Everything. No more half-truths." Ethan nodded, his fingers tapping softly on the table. "I was raised in affluence," he started. "Everything was given to me. Yet, it felt like everyone had an expectation in return. My resources, my impact, my network. It's never solely about me." He took a moment, signaling to the waitress for a coffee as she walked by. "That morning when I spotted you waiting for a ride, I noticed the company badge. Yet you failed to recognize me, and it was invigorating, the manner in which you communicated, straightforward and sincere, devoid of ulterior motives or insincere praise. So, you've chosen to engage in a game?" Emily's voice carried an unmistakable sharpness. "No," he stated with conviction. "I chose to safeguard something authentic. Each dialogue we exchanged, each instant we experienced together, it was genuine, Emily. More authentic than anything I've encountered in years. And the medical expenses for my father. That wasn't about control. I witnessed a dear one facing difficulties, and I was in a position to offer assistance. Wouldn't you have acted in a similar way?" Emily examined his expression, searching for any hint of dishonesty. Instead, she discovered only authenticity and a profound connection, something that quickened her heartbeat. "I find it difficult to accept assistance," she confessed. "Especially not from someone like me," he concluded with a subtle smile. "Rich, powerful, or merely someone who cares for you?" The inquiry lingered in the air, laden with meaning. Emily sipped her now lukewarm coffee, pausing to gather her thoughts. "I'm not sure how to navigate this," she finally admitted. "Whatever this connection is between us." "I'm in the same boat," Ethan responded candidly. "But I'm eager to explore it. In unison. No more secrets, no more pretense, just us." He extended his hand across the table, pausing just before hers, a gesture of invitation rather than insistence. Emily wandered through her apartment that evening, her thoughts circling back to the conversation with Ethan at the cafe. Her father observed her from his cherished armchair, a familiar smile gracing his lips. "You're going to wear a hole in the floor, sweetheart," he teased. "I don't know what to do, Dad," she admitted, finally sinking onto the couch. "Everything he said makes sense, but you're afraid," her father interjected. "Afraid of opening up, of receiving support, of showing weakness." Emily agreed, struggling to hold back tears. What if everything crumbles? What if I'm merely a fleeting curiosity to him? Is there someone who stands out from his typical surroundings? What happens if you aren't? Her father replied, "What if he's truly just as he appears? A man who has genuinely fallen for my incredible daughter and wishes to be involved in her life." She toyed with the silver bracelet she had finally permitted herself to wear once more. "It's complicated. He holds the title of my superior and the intricacies of our relationship. Life is complicated," her father remarked gently. "But sometimes the best things are worth the risk." Emily reflected on Ethan's candidness at the cafe, the way his gaze intertwined with hers as he revealed his true self. She reflected on their early morning dialogues, how he had attentively absorbed her thoughts and valued her perspectives. "I'm weary of living in fear," she murmured. Her father reached over and squeezed her hand. "Then maybe it's time to be brave instead." That night, Emily lay awake, her gaze fixed on her phone. Ethan's final message lingered without a reply. "Whatever you decide, know that my feelings are genuine." Her fingers lingered above the keyboard, her heart pounding as she wrote, "Can we discuss this tomorrow?" His reply was immediate. "Name the time and place." For the first time in weeks, Emily drifted off to sleep with a smile gracing her lips. The next morning arrived, bright and clear. Emily selected the rooftop garden of the office building for their meeting, a space that struck a balance between privacy and openness. Upon her arrival, Ethan was already present, leaning against the railing and observing the city come to life below. "Good morning," she greeted softly, stepping up beside him at the railing. "Good morning," he said, turning to look at her. "I wasn't sure you'd show up." "I wasn't sure myself," she confessed. "But I've been reflecting a lot." The morning sun illuminated his face as he waited quietly for her to elaborate. Emily inhaled deeply. "I'm not accustomed to this, allowing others to assist, permitting them to enter my life. After Mom passed away, it was just Dad and me standing against everything. I needed to embody strength, independence, and reliability." "You still can be," Ethan remarked. "Being with someone doesn't mean sacrificing your own identity. I understand that now. I've come to see that perhaps my intense focus on self-protection has caused me to overlook something significant." "What is it?" "That true strength can sometimes be found in the courage to place trust in another person." Ethan's expression softened. "And do you have faith in me?" "I'm beginning to," she admitted sincerely. "However, I need you to grasp something. If we proceed with this, whatever it may be, I would prefer not to receive any special treatment at work. No special treatment, no handouts. I want to be certain that all my achievements are a result of my own hard work." "I wouldn't want it any other way," he concurred. "Your competence is one of the things I admire most about you." Emily felt a tightness in her chest begin to ease. "And my father's treatment is non-negotiable," Ethan stated with conviction. "Not in the capacity of your boss or as a potential romantic partner, but as someone who genuinely cares for both of you. Please allow me to do this." She gazed at his face for an extended moment, then gave a slow nod. All right. His eyebrows lifted in astonishment. "All of it is fine. The journey and us. Embracing the pace, discovering what lies ahead." The grin that spread across his face made every second of doubt worthwhile. He extended his hand toward hers, and this time she allowed him to grasp it. "Slow sounds perfect," he murmured gently. As they stood there, gazing at the sun rising over the city, Emily felt a sensation she hadn't encountered in ages. Anticipation. Monday morning infused the office with a fresh vibe. Emily strode through the doors with confidence, embracing the inquisitive looks from her colleagues. She was completely transparent now. Indeed, very little. She and Ethan decided to keep their emerging relationship under wraps for the time being, ensuring a professional boundary at work while exploring their connection more deeply outside the office. It was not always straightforward, particularly in those moments during meetings when their gazes would connect across the conference table. "Ms. Carter," Ethan's assistant approached her desk mid-morning. "Mr. Montgomery would like to see you regarding the Johnson account." In his office, Ethan sat behind his desk, upholding the professional demeanor they had settled on. Yet his gaze warmed as she walked in. "I wanted to express my sincere apologies," he said, once the door was closed. "For everything. It's not merely about concealing who I am. It's about creating an atmosphere where trust feels elusive." Emily took her seat in the chair opposite him. "I believe I owe you an apology as well," I responded, quite strongly. "You were completely justified, perhaps. Yet I didn't allow you the opportunity to clarify. I was so consumed by my own wounded pride that I failed to recognize your efforts to safeguard something genuine." Ethan leaned in, his gaze sincere. "I've never encountered anyone quite like you, Emily. Someone who looks beyond all of this." He indicated with a sweep of his hand towards his office. "To the essence of who I am. I should have believed in that aspect of you from the beginning. We both had our defenses," she confessed. "Perhaps it's time to disappoint them." "I'd like that." He smiled, then opened his desk drawer. "I have something for you," he said, revealing a small envelope. Inside was a medical report revealing her father's latest test results. All positive. "The new treatment is working," he said softly. "Your father's doctor called this morning." Emily's eyes welled with tears as she absorbed the report. In a spontaneous gesture, she rose and moved around the desk, enveloping him in a warm embrace. "Thank you," she murmured softly. For a brief instant, they remained in that position, the lines of professionalism blurred. Then, recalling their surroundings, Emily took a step back, adjusting her skirt with a delicate touch. "Dinner tonight?" Ethan inquired. "It's a celebration." "I would appreciate that," she said with a smile, making her way to the door. "And Ethan, I forgive you." The expression of sheer happiness on his face lingered in her mind throughout the day. The following weeks unfolded in a flurry of secret encounters and intimate dinners. Emily and Ethan discovered a harmonious balance, maintaining a clear divide between their careers while nurturing a unique bond in their personal moments. One evening, at a quaint Italian eatery away from the corporate hustle, Ethan broached a topic that had been weighing on him. "The annual shareholders' meeting is next week," he remarked, observing her response intently. "I'd like you to be there." Officially, Emily paused, her fork suspended in midair. "You mean as the woman I'm seeing? Are you prepared for that?" She placed her fork on the table, pondering the consequences. Going public would alter everything: their meticulously preserved professional boundaries, her connections with coworkers, and perhaps even the course of her career. "Are you certain?" she inquired. "There will be discussions." "Let them think what they want," Ethan interjected softly. "I'm exhausted from pretending that I don't feel a spark every time you enter a room. I'm weary of observing you from afar in the office, forcing myself to treat you like just another colleague." Emily's heart raced. "It might complicate matters." "Life is complicated," he smiled, reflecting on her father's words from weeks prior. "But you're worth every complication." The following week, Emily stood in front of her mirror, adjusting her new dress, a present from Ethan that she'd initially attempted to decline. The shareholders' meeting would mark her first official appearance as Ethan Montgomery's partner. "You look beautiful," her father remarked from his chair, appearing healthier than he had in months, though a hint of nervousness lingered in his demeanor. "What if they don't accept me?" she whispered. "Then that's their loss," he replied with conviction. "But anyone who sees how happy you make each other would be a fool to question it." During the meeting, Ethan took great pride in introducing her to the board members and investors. While a few eyebrows were raised, his assured demeanor and evident affection signaled that this was more than a mere office romance. "The insights provided by Ms. Carter have proven to be crucial for our expansion into the Asian market," he remarked to a particularly skeptical board member. "Her business savvy is evident." Later, at the reception, Emily caught two executives in conversation. "Have you ever seen him like this?" "Never. He behaves differently around her. There's a sense of grounding, a touch of humanity." As the night began to wind down, Ethan spotted her on the balcony, distanced from the throng. "Regrets?" he inquired, encircling her with his arms from behind. "Not a single one," she answered, reclining against him. "I believe Mrs. Henderson from accounting nearly had a heart attack when you kissed my hand." His laughter resonated deeply. "Let them get used to it." "I'm done concealing my feelings for you," Emily said, turning to face him in his embrace. "And how do you feel?" Rather than responding, he leaned in and kissed her, right there on the balcony, indifferent to any onlookers. When they separated, his gaze held a weight of seriousness. "I adore you, Emily Carter." All truths laid bare. No more hiding. For the first time in her life, Emily felt a clarity in her response that she had never experienced before. "I love you too." 2 months into their public relationship, Emily encountered unexpected challenges. While Ethan continued to treat her the same, both in the workplace and in their personal lives, the atmosphere around them had noticeably altered. One morning, she caught snippets of conversation in the break room. It seemed she had this all figured out from the beginning. I wonder how soon it will be before she ascends to the role of VP. Climbing the ladder in her own way. Classic move. Emily tightened her grip on her coffee cup, yet maintained her composure as she strode by. Later that day, she caught herself reflecting on the remarks made during the department meeting. Miss Carter, what are your insights regarding the suggested marketing strategy? Her direct supervisor inquired, his tone noticeably altered, almost respectful, as if hesitant to confront her. I believe it requires improvement, she stated with conviction, laying out her notes. The demographic analysis is lacking, and we have overlooked essential market indicators. I recommend a thorough revision before we present to the board. She sensed the weight of gazes upon her, curious if she was showcasing her newfound authority. Yet Ethan, positioned at the head of the table, merely nodded in agreement. I concur. Johnson, collaborate with Miss Carter's team to enhance the proposal. We need solid data before moving forward. That evening in Ethan's penthouse apartment, Emily finally expressed her worries. They treat me differently now, she said, curled up on his luxurious couch. Either they're too intimidated to critique my work, or they think I'm leveraging you for my own gain. Ethan placed his wine glass down and turned to her completely. Does it bother you because you believe them? No, she replied, sitting up straighter. I know what we have is genuine, but I've put in so much effort to establish my reputation, and you believe that being with me undermines it? Sometimes, she confessed softly. I notice the way people gaze at me now, as if I'm no longer Emily Carter, the one who climbed the ladder, but rather Emily Carter, the one who captured the CEO's attention. Ethan paused, reflecting on her statement. When I began this venture, many claimed my success was solely due to my family's influence, that I hadn't truly earned it. It took years to silence those doubts, he said, taking her hand. Your efforts are undeniable, Emily. Those who truly understand recognize that your worth is independent of our connection. But what if they are correct? What if being with you truly offers me unexpected benefits? Is that the reason you declined the promotion last week? Emily averted her gaze. She had indeed turned down a major opportunity for career growth, concerned it would lend credence to the rumors circulating in the office. You're punishing yourself for the biases of others, Ethan said gently. That promotion was rightfully yours. Your history speaks for itself. I simply desire to achieve success through my own efforts. You already have, and you will continue to do so, he said, cradling her face with tenderness. Being with me does not take away from your accomplishments. If anything, it pushes you to strive even more to validate your worth. Emily leaned into his touch, sensing some of her tension dissipate. When did you become so insightful? Around the time I fell for a woman who is both incredibly stubborn and fiercely independent. She has a way of keeping me grounded. She laughed. Then her expression turned serious. I won't always be easy to love, you know? There are numerous barriers that are still being dismantled. It's fortunate that I possess patience. He drew her nearer, fully and wholeheartedly dedicated to demonstrating that love and achievement can coexist harmoniously. As she nestled into his arms, Emily came to understand that the true struggle lay not in confronting the opinions of others, but in embracing the belief that she was worthy of both career achievements and personal joy. The journey ahead may present challenges, yet with Ethan alongside her, she felt prepared to confront whatever lay ahead. 1 year after that fateful morning, when Emily accepted a ride from a mysterious stranger, she found herself in her father's hospital room, observing him as he packed his belongings. The doctors had just declared him fit and healthy. The bold approach Ethan pursued proved to be more effective than anyone had anticipated. Are you ready to head home, Dad? She inquired, assisting him in folding his sweater. More than ready, but I have to admit that private room was rather luxurious. He shared a knowing glance with her. Your Ethan certainly knows how to take care of people. He's not my Ethan, she protested automatically, then smiled. Well, maybe he is. Just as their conversation seemed to call him forth, Ethan appeared in the doorway, carrying a bouquet of flowers. For your new garden, he explained to Emily's father. I heard you're planning to take up gardening now that you're feeling better. Absolutely. You two are my first volunteers for the heavy lifting. Laughter erupted among them, and Emily's heart swelled with joy. This was her family now, broadened, fortified, whole. Back at work, Emily had finally discovered her rhythm. She had embraced the promotion she had once declined, and the achievements of her team were a testament to that decision. The murmurs of favoritism faded away as her unwavering accomplishments spoke for themselves. The board has given the green light to your proposal for the new community outreach program, Ethan informed her one afternoon. In a well-timed meeting with the door ajar, one of their numerous compromises to uphold professional boundaries. That's wonderful. When are we able to begin the implementation process? They were notably struck by the emphasis on assisting families facing medical challenges. His gaze became gentle. You've transformed your personal journey into a source of support for others. I was fortunate to have great inspiration, she responded, reflecting on her father's challenges and Ethan's kindness. Later that evening, as they strolled through the park adjacent to their newly shared apartment, Ethan appeared to be unusually silent. Is everything all right? Emily inquired, gently holding his hand. He halted his steps, pivoting to meet her gaze. I've been contemplating what lies ahead. Oh! Her heart raced with excitement. This last year has brought me the greatest joy. You have transformed me, Emily. Transformed me into a more refined individual, a more effective leader, he said as he pulled something from his pocket. And I want to spend the rest of my life being worthy of your love. Emily's breath hitched as he knelt down, presenting a ring that was both simple and elegant. I'm not inquiring because you embody perfection, even though to me you do. I'm inquiring because your unwavering nature tests me, your principles motivate me, and your affection fulfills me. He inhaled deeply. Emily Carter, will you marry me? Tears welled in her eyes as a rush of memories enveloped her. Their initial encounter, the challenges they faced, the evolution of their bond. His unwavering support during her father's healing journey, all while honoring her autonomy. Her role in guiding him to navigate the fine line between his responsibilities as a CEO and embracing his true self. Yes, she murmured, then raised her voice. Yes. As he slid the ring onto her finger and drew her into a kiss, Emily understood that love transcended power dynamics and social status. It was about discovering someone who truly saw you and embraced you wholly, flaws and all. You realize this will lead to even more office gossip, she playfully remarked as they strolled home. Let them talk, Ethan replied, drawing her nearer. We know what's real. And indeed they did. A chance meeting between a struggling assistant and a powerful CEO sparked a love story that blossomed into something profoundly significant. A collaboration founded on mutual trust, respect, and an unshakable faith in one another. 5 years later, Emily found herself at the podium of Montgomery Enterprises' annual charity gala, embracing her position as Director of Community Outreach. The initiative she launched years back has blossomed into one of the company's standout successes, providing support to countless families grappling with medical challenges. When I first joined this company, she began her speech, I faced challenges in balancing my work responsibilities with the care of my ailing father. Today, I take great pride in sharing that my father is present with us, as she indicated towards him, nurturing his beloved roses which have become his newfound passion. Additionally, we have supported over 1,000 families in navigating similar obstacles. From the edge of the stage, Ethan observed his wife, a swell of pride filling his heart. Their journey was not without its bumps. Whispers about their relationship lingered, and there were times when Emily felt the need to validate her place. Yet they confronted each challenge side by side. Success goes beyond mere profit margins, Emily continued. It encompasses the impact we have on people's lives. Often, the most significant transformations begin with a single act of kindness. She locked eyes with Ethan and smiled, reminiscing about that initial car ride. Following the speech, while guests mingled, a young intern approached Emily with a hint of nervousness. Mrs. Montgomery, your narrative fills me with optimism. I'm balancing the responsibility of caring for my ill mother while striving to advance my career. Emily grasped the girl's hand tightly. "Join me on Monday. I believe we can find a solution together." Later that night, as they strolled through the garden where Emily's father had assisted them in planting a colorful array of flowers, Ethan drew her near. "Do you have any idea what I cherish the most about you?" he inquired. "My remarkable business insight?" she playfully taunted. "That's true, but what stands out most is how you've transformed every challenge life presented into a means of assisting others." Emily nestled into his arms, reflecting on the path they had traveled together. She had transformed from a frazzled assistant struggling to get by, and he was no longer the isolated CEO concealing himself behind his title. United, they crafted something significant, transcending their affection to create a lasting impact on the lives of others. "We performed well, didn't we?" she murmured softly. "We did wonderfully," he said, pressing his lips gently against hers. "And this is only the beginning." As the city lights danced beneath her, Emily came to a profound realization. Affection transcended social standing and riches. It revolved around faith, development, and the continuous decision to stand by one another, regardless of the challenges faced. Did you find this contemporary romance between Emily and Ethan captivating? Their path from a serendipitous encounter to a profound connection illustrates that genuine affection can triumph over any challenges. If this tale resonated with you, kindly give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who could use a gentle nudge that love often shows up in the most surprising moments. I would be thrilled to hear your insights on Emily and Ethan's tale, and to cultivate a gathering of romance enthusiasts right here. Share a comment about the country you're tuning in from, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more touching love stories like this one. Your support enables us to produce more content that serves as a reminder that love transcends all boundaries, be they social, economic, or professional.